just a minute, folks. I'm just getting everybody in for the podcast. Hey, Dash. What's up, man? Just starting the podcast. It's been a while. Yeah. Fucking... Yeah, not too many people on. How's it going? What's the beta? Nice. Not bad. Not bad. Alright, well, I just started live, so, if you want to be in the podcast, we're ready to go. Alright, let's see here. Alright, yep, actually, we're live right now. Yeah, if you want to do it, you can, I just got some news to go over, a little bit of stuff. It's not like we got, 20 minutes. Alright, well, hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Venom with We Have Landed Entertainment, and we have got, again, Dash Dude. What's up, Dash? It's actually been a few weeks since I talked to you.
Yep.
I think it's right before
good.
Yeah, I think it's right before I went on vacation, and then I was sick for a week, so the podcast was a little weird at the end of 2017. So, yep, we're back on schedule. We've changed it to Saturdays, if you had noticed. So, Fridays I decided I want to just chill when I get home from work. So, yeah, I changed to Saturday nights. Alright, so, real quick, I know you went around for the podcast last week, just a brief overview. Destiny 2 and Battlefront 2 still suck. I raged about Ark Survival Evolved a little bit, which I'm sure you are also used to. And then we talked about, I don't know if you heard about it, the first death from swatting that actually occurred in the community.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that shit. I haven't got much of an update about that, but as far as I know, the dude's still going to jail. But this week we got a couple things. I was trying to get away a little bit from the Destiny 2 and Battlefront 2 debacle, because that's all anyone's ever talking about. But yeah, the Destiny part did come back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, what I think about the swatting really is that I feel like whoever's being swatted, the person who's doing it to them, they're wasting the SWAT team's time when they could be saving someone else that actually needs help.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And again, the guy that ended up dying, I don't know if you knew this or not, wasn't even involved in the incident. They gave somebody the wrong address on purpose. So it's some guy who wasn't even involved in it who got swatted and ended up getting killed from it. So.
And
that makes
terrible.
And I don't think people understand that makes all gamers look bad. But
pretty much.
Yeah, right now still no update from that. Big things that are going on. We do have to bring back Destiny 2 for this just because they did finally have a response after the Dawning backlash. I don't think you played during the Dawning event at all, did you? I don't think you really picked it back up since...
Yeah, I haven't picked it back up in a while.
Yeah, basically the Dawning, for those that don't know, is pretty much the winter Christmas event for Destiny. They had in Destiny 1, and they did it again in Destiny 2. However, the entire event turned out to be just a big loot box scam. You could get 3, I think, loot boxes per account per week. It was essentially impossible to get everything the Dawning had to offer without paying for it, which is ironic since it is supposed to be a Christmas-type event, a giving event. And the whole thing was you had to pay to get the stuff. Well, there's been huge backlash, again, from the community. Seems like there's a new backlash against Destiny every week. And Destiny finally responded. And again, you may or may not have seen, there was actually a hashtag going around. It's been all over the Destiny forums, and that was remove Eververse. The community is tired of Eververse. All the freaking Bungie team seems to focus on is the Eververse. That's where all their best content goes into. And before, when we were kind of pissed about Activision, thinking that it was Activision's fault that the Eververse was there, as it turns out, it was actually Bungie's idea to make the Eververse. And to make money that way, instead of making money by making good content in DLC. I'm going to be paraphrasing here because I really don't feel like going through all the exact articles and quotes, but essentially they said it's too hard to make content, and that they were going to just put it in the Eververse to make money instead of actually making DLC that we want to buy. And Activision just approved it, which of course they would. So, yeah, good guy Bungie, not so much. It was their idea to put in the Eververse. So, that happened. Or at least found that out. And then they came out with a big, and this is on the official Bungie website, it's a development update from 1/11/18. I'm not even going to bother to read the thing, because essentially all they go through and say the exact same thing we always hear. We heard your complaints, yada yada. We're going to make the Eververse less intrusive. We're going to try and focus on this, focus on that. Basically everything except what we want to hear. We want good in-game. We want better balance. And more than anything else, we want the Eververse gone. Apparently not getting rid of it. So as far as I'm concerned, fuck you, Bungie. Fuck Destiny 2. Until you get rid of the Eververse and get rid of microtransactions altogether in your game, don't bother talking to us. What do you think?
I'm for 2018. I'm really hoping they learn from their mistakes from the 2017 loot box situation. Honestly,
Yeah,
that's what I feel like they should like do better than this. They can do better than this.
Yeah, they can. We know they can because they did it in Destiny 1, and every single problem that they've had with this game stems from the loot box system. The entire, all their problems is the loot boxes. I mean, obviously have staff dedicated to the Eververse, which means they have those staff members not working on the core game, not working on DLC. Even if it's only one person working on Eververse, which it's not, then that's still one more person that could be adding to making this a good game. So no matter what the split is between staff for the regular core game and Eververse, the staff's still split. So that's just that much more effort that could go into making this a good game worthy of our time. And again, they come out with this is what we want to do for the different seasons. They even have a breakdown on the page about the post-launch content about the seasons, the expansions, and how much effort they're putting into Eververse. But again, none of this matters because the community wants Eververse gone. Until it's gone, as far as I'm concerned, and I hope people are with me, we shouldn't even give Bungie the time of day until they come out and say, okay, we're getting rid of Eververse. Let's go from there. As far as I'm concerned, they lost that. I don't even think they should have been doing it to begin with, but they've lost what little privilege they had to have it. I mean, at least in Destiny 1, it was literally just cosmetic crap. There was a couple of emotes, nothing big, maybe some ornaments. Now all their focus seems to be on Eververse with nothing else. And they got the Valentine's Day event coming up, which is, again, probably going to be just like the Dawning. Everything's going to be in the loot boxes, and I just can't bring myself to care.
Yeah, if, they already had the cosmetics already, developed and made, and they just put a price tag over it, that's kind of dumb. Honestly, why would you do that?
Yep.
If you already have it.
Or they're claiming out they're going to try and spread out some of the stuff from the loot boxes to make them earnable in-game, yada yada. The, ships, ghosts, shaders, that kind of thing. They're going to have alternate ways of getting some of them. They're going to set it up to where you have less of a chance of duplicates for certain stuff. And again, whenever they do something good for Destiny 2, they always do something shitty as well. Like with the experience system. When we found out they were nerfing our experience, okay, they came on with the excuse, yeah, this isn't working the way we wanted to. We hear you. We're going to do something about it. And the next day they turned it off, and then they doubled how much experience we need. When it came to the expansion, the first expansion came out, we wanted more in-game. The expansion came out, of course they hyped the hell out of it, and there was nothing in there, and most of the crap was, again, in the loot boxes. Same thing for the Dawning. They said they were going to take a look at it, and nothing's happened. So they're claiming they're going to get rid of, and I think the exact wording was something around making sure that the loot boxes are heavily weighed to giving you new items and not duplicates. Which, honestly, to me, sounds like they're just going to stack it full of a bunch of legendary gear and just give us more shit to try to grind for versus, all the exotics. So, let's say there's 20 exotics in a loot box now. They're probably going to add in 100 more legendaries or something. Shit nobody wants in commons just to make it hard to get things. I mean, whenever they try to give us something good, they also screw us over at the same time. So, I don't have any hope for this system at all. So, yeah, hopefully this game crashes and burns. And apparently they still have to make 2 more games by contract, so we'll see how that works. I don't think Bungie's going to actually last through... I don't think they're going to last much longer. I mean, at this point, I'd be happy if EA bought Bungie. That's how upset I am with them.
Yeah, these are big companies. They have all the money they can use on these games. Yet they spend it most of their time on cosmetics get to pay for.
Yeah, and they've already admitted, and it's already been proven that they don't need to have microtransactions for their game. I mean,
Yeah,
I think it was a CFO or the CEO of EA came out and said when they disabled the microtransactions for Battlefront 2, they told their stockholders that disabling the microtransactions would not have a material effect on the game or on the money that the game makes. Which means that they didn't need to have microtransactions to begin with to make money on it. That just means that they're being greedy. They could, and again, they're free to do whatever they want with microtransactions. But again, they could just concentrate on making content that we want to buy. Instead, they're just trying to take the shortcut, and personally, I'm not going to stand for it, and I'm just not going to support the game. Some people will, okay, fine, vote with your wallet. If people still want to buy it, cool, but I've already sworn off microtransactions in games. I'm not doing it.
I mean, it's worse if you have a bad game and you're putting cosmetics and all that in your game as well.
Oh yeah, and you know what? There probably wouldn't even be this much of a hubbub about it if Destiny 2 was at least on par with Destiny 1. If they had actually built it the way it was supposed to have been, or if they'd actually built it the way Destiny 1 ended up, if they had actually compounded on that, then it would be fine. But instead, as it turns out, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, it turns out that the game got a reboot midway during the development cycle. It turns out that Destiny 2 might have actually only been made in about 16 months. So, you know, the game felt rushed and how it felt empty and devoid of content. Well, it's probably because they only had 16 months to make the game. So, again, there goes into a whole bunch of bullshit that I personally don't even care about because I'm getting tired of the damn company. I really don't care for their excuses. But essentially, they sold us a half-finished game. That's why it's felt half-finished. And on top of that, they were trying to sell microtransactions instead of making content because, and I quote, they said making content is too hard. So I really have no sympathy. I work hard for my money, and I want my money's worth. I really don't care if you think it's too hard. Get a different job then. This is what you chose to do, so stop complaining. I don't have to buy your shitty game or buy your microtransactions if I don't want to. So, yep, that's everything on the Destiny 2 front. As far as Battlefront 2, again, no news, and if there was, I probably wouldn't cover it because I'm really getting sick of it. I just went over to Destiny 2 stuff because, again, I mean, we were huge Destiny 2 players, and again, that really hurts. But, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. But speaking of loot boxes, probably the biggest loot box purveyors in the industry, Overwatch has now got, I think, like 312 new skins for their characters. Apparently, they're getting ready to fund, or they are using the money to fund a competition for Overwatch. People seem to have mixed reactions to these skins. Personally, again, any kind of loot box, I am not for. And if I'm not mistaken, these aren't even loot boxes. These are just skins you can buy flat out. I think the skins cost about $5 each. So think about it, 312 skins, $5 for players that are, you know, OCD like me that have to have everything. That's a huge chunk of change. So, and apparently it's supposed to go to fund their game or fund their competition. Again, the hardcore Overwatch fans are really just kind of like, yeah, whatever, you know, it's Overwatch, it's just cosmetic, yada yada, the usual bullshit. Personally, I still say, hey, it's a fucking AAA game. We shouldn't have to be paying for this. If you want to make more money, make expansions. But, again, it goes back into the whole microtransaction as a whole thing for AAA games. So,
yeah,
good time like gaming.
2018 is where we're going to fix some problems that we have from 2017.
Well, and that's what I'm hoping too. I mean, we got a lot of good games that are coming up. I mean, we got Monster Hunter World coming out, which I'm still super psyched for. I mean, we got a potential new map for Ark Survival Evolved coming out. I don't know when it's coming out, but Extinction will likely come out at some point this year. We've got, although that brings me into a whole other issue with Ark, but we've got, let's see, what else do we got coming out this year, actually?
Dragonfall Fighters.
Yep, Dragonfall Fighters, you're playing that beta right now. We can talk about that here in a second, but we got that one coming out. I mean, there's a lot of big games coming out. We're still waiting on Bethesda's new IP to be announced. Still pretty sure it's Starfield. That's what all the evidence points to, but and for those who don't know, it's supposedly their new IP is like a space MMO and like, you know, the Fallout 4 or Fallout and Elder Scrolls style, We just haven't really heard any official news about it, although we do know that they have the name Starfield copywritten for, I think, mobile games and multi-platforms. But again, got to double check some of this stuff because it hasn't officially been announced, so I haven't actually gone through and grabbed the official word on it. Right now, it's all just kind of speculation. But I mean, Bethesda's got to have something coming out here fairly soon. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff potentially coming out. Anthem is the one everyone's kind of eagerly awaiting, but seems like more people are just awaiting.
Also worried.
Yeah, that's it. I think people are more eagerly awaiting it just to see if they're going to have loot boxes and how they're going to do it. And so far, every analyst seems to say they're going to have loot boxes. We just don't know how they're going to be implemented into the game yet. So, I mean, yeah, if they're there, I mean, again, I've already said I'm not going to buy it. And a lot of other people have too. I'm sure it's still going to sell well. Don't get me wrong. Some people just don't care whether the loot boxes are in the game, whether they're microtransaction based, whether it's power based, pay to win. It's still going to sell pretty good. I mean, that is the shitty part. It's going to sell. I mean, usually all we can hope to do is have enough people that don't buy the game that it makes a big enough impact, like with Battlefront 2, that it gets noticed. But awaiting that one. Let's see, what else do we got big on the news going on? Oh, here we go. Developers of the game called Ridout. I don't know if you heard about this one. So Ridout is apparently... Did you ever play a game called Wipeout or any kind of like futuristic racing game? Anti-grav racing game, stuff like that? Like F-Zero, Wipeout? So, no. Well, basically, Ridout is kind of like an anti-gravity futuristic racing game. And apparently, they are supposedly out their game. Long story short, the game was supposed to run at, freaking 4K resolution. I guess Digital Foundries did an article on them, and in fact, I've got the an article right here. This is from Eurogamer.net. It says, Ridout on Xbox One X falls short of the PS4 Pro experience. And the first thing on here is the update from the update from Eurogamer. I'm going to read it out real quick. And this article is by David Burton. And this developer, 34 Big Things, has responded to our analysis of Ridout, taking issue with our findings, specifically the 1080p rendering resolution of the Xbox One X version. We managed to scale the resolution between 90% and 50% above native 4K, which means the resolution goes from the upper limit of yada yada yada. They go through technical crap. Basically, they're trying to sue them, or they're bitching at them because in their article they said the game doesn't run in 4K when it turns out it did. That's what the whole thing is. I'm not going to go through and read all the specs and crap because personally I don't really care. But I know there's plenty of gamers who do care, who have like 4K TVs and monitors and actually want a game to run at, 60 frames per second, 4K at all times, no frames dropped, that kind of thing. But essentially, the developer is suing Digital Foundries, again, for lying about their game. Turns out the game did run what they said it did. I've got mixed feelings about them wanting to sue them. Part of me thinks, and I've heard this argument, that, hey, they just made a mistake. Could it happen for any number of reasons that they got the information wrong about the game? Part of me, as a businessman, kinda is on the side of the Ridout developers, because that article really hurt their image, and I know I'd be pretty pissed off if an article came out that was essentially a lie that hurt my business's image. So, to be honest, it's hard to be biased in this situation. I'm kind of torn. I really don't know how to feel about it. What do you think there, Dash?
Really, I don't have a side, really, because it was a misunderstanding, I guess you can say. But if I were to choose, it would probably be Ridout.
Well, it's not even necessarily choose one side or the other. I mean, there might be something I'm not thinking of. Like I said, I can't be unbiased in the situation because, again, I own a company. And if somebody essentially made an article about my company that turned out to be false, I mean, I'd be wanting someone's head at the same. So, I mean, it's hard for me to look at this from the outside.
And yeah, I mean, we've seen companies lie before, so it'd probably piss you off if it keeps on happening.
So, I mean, I guess they would probably come down to, did they do this on purpose, or was it negligence on Digital Foundry? I mean, did they just not properly test right? I mean, I guess there's a lot of stuff we just don't know about this situation. I mean, if they just failed to test correctly, or they weren't paying attention, or someone half-assed their job, then yeah, I'd say definitely there's some negligence in there. If it was really a misunderstanding, like apparently this 4K issue, it actually was a patch from a few weeks ago, so I could see if they had tested it before the patch came out, or they were using the wrong version of the game. I could see that. And again, I could see it possibly being negligence on Digital Foundry's part. So, I mean, I really don't know. I don't think it was done with any real malice in mind. I don't think it was done, overly on purpose to lie about the game. But, again, I just don't know how to feel about it. Just, I'm completely torn on it. And in fact, when it comes to a lot of these game developers that have been threatening to sue people lately, I'm finding myself more and more torn on some stuff, especially when it comes to like articles and stuff. Now, there's some instances, like with Digital Extremes and or not Digital Extremes, sorry, they're DE, Digital Homicide, where they threaten to sue somebody because of a bad review when the game itself really is bad, when there has been no lie. That I mean, I can't abide by that. I mean, if your game sucks and someone literally just says your game sucks, so they don't lie about it, I can't get down with that. I mean, I cannot support those kind of actions. But when it's something like this, I don't think they did it out of any malice. The game apparently does play well. I mean, they seem to like the gameplay, but it was just this one specification of it. That's where I find myself torn. But with some of these guys, especially indie developers, threatening to sue people just because they rate the game bad when it's a bad game, that's happening way too often. So, again, just stuff that I find myself thinking about a little differently now that I've got my own business. But
Yeah.
speaking of, and again, it seems like most of the gaming news that comes out here lately is microtransaction or greed related. The game Blazblue. It is a fighting game kind of akin to Darkstalkers, kind of the 2D fighter, some along the lines of Street Fighter, a little bit more faster pace. Did you ever play Blazblue there, Dash?
I've seen gameplay of it, and it's actually from the same company that I'm playing right now with this game.
Yep, so I know you're into fighting games, I just didn't know what all ones you played. I played a little bit of Blazblue myself, not nearly as much as I did stuff like Tekken and Soul Calibur. Did look pretty fun. They had a pretty interesting cast of characters. I loved playing Darkstalkers back in the day. But apparently, and here's an article from, how do you say this? Gematsu? Gematsu. Gematsu.com, an article by Sal Romano. And it's Blazblue Cross Tag Battle launches May 31st in Japan and Asia, and June 5th in North America, so we are going to get it. And adds DLC character Blake Belladonna. Well, apparently, there's 20 characters in the base game, and there's a character called Blake Belladonna, who, for those of you that don't know, is actually one of the main cast from the anime and Rooster Teeth show Ruby.
Yeah, Ruby.
Yeah, it is. She's from Ruby. She's on the Ruby team. Apparently, the entire Ruby team is in Blazblue, but for some reason, Blake is a DLC character. And as it turns out, half of the roster is actually DLC characters. Apparently, there's 20 characters in the base game. The other 20 you apparently have to buy. And since it's DLC stuff, I believe it's coming later on. So I guess it's not even a complete game when it's coming out. You only got half your characters, and the other half you have to buy. I've got very strong and definitive feelings on that one. I understand having, one or two special characters, once the game's been out for like a year or so, even 6 months, that are special DLC characters. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it, but I do understand having special characters. Tekken does this quite a bit. I think Street Fighter may have done it here recently. I got to check on that one. Don't quote me on it. But I know Soul Calibur tended to have special characters and DLC characters. Again, the latest Tekken did the same thing. We didn't have half of a roster locked behind DLC, though. There's a lot of games where you have to unlock each character to use. I mean, that's kind of standard practice, putting in time to get some of the higher tier or better characters. Tekken, you have to unlock costumes and stuff. I'm fine with costume unlocking, that kind of thing, but having half the characters locked, again, it's fairly standard, but having it locked behind DLC, that gets back into damn near into loot box territory, that kind of griminess. I mean, granted, it's not loot box, it's not random, but having half of your game locked behind future DLC from the get-go, we're straying away from loot box issues at this point, and we're just getting into alternate ways that game companies are trying to screw us now.
Like DLC.
Exactly. And again, this isn't freaking DLC they're planning later down the line. I mean, they know from the get-go that they're going to have 20 characters locked behind crap. It's not like they're going to come out with a whole new... I mean, they may come out with like a whole new set of maps and stuff, but I mean, this is a fighting game. There's only so much more stuff you can add. The only thing you can add are the characters themselves. So, I mean, now we've got a game that is essentially going to ship that we're going to have to pay presumably $60 for and still only get half the game. So now we're going from random loot boxes with cosmetics and some arguably pay-to-win mechanics in some games to games that are literally shipping for $60 that are out of the box only half available.
Yeah, I don't like that. I feel like they're trying to find a way to get more money.
Yeah, every single game company is, and it's getting more like everyone's focused on EA and Bungie because of the stuff that they've done with the random loot boxes and incomplete games. But now we got companies with like long-standing IPs like Blazblue, and they're just looking at even more ways. I mean, they can see that the loot box issue has been a problem, so it looks like they're just trying out every possible way they can to just squeeze more and more money out of people. And now we got an even worse care. I mean, imagine if like the next Fallout comes out, Fallout 5 comes out, and you got to pay... I mean, yeah, granted, they tend to have DLC, but they're actually full DLC shit that's usually worth it and actually provides you with real shit. But imagine if to use half the main weapons in the game, you have to pay for them. It's locked behind random loot boxes. Or to get your vault jumpsuit, to get anything besides that, it's all loot boxes. I mean, I can see that level of stuff happening in some of our other games here very soon.
Now, there's another DLC situation going on with the game I'm playing right now, Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it's kind of different, though, because they already announced the DLC before the game's out. But I'm going to cut a little bit of slack because you really are going to expect DLC in Dragon Ball fighting game, honestly. There's like almost DLC in every Dragon Ball game. But, and plus the anime, Dragon Ball, is gonna have new characters, and they're gonna want to add DLC with those characters that come out.
Well, then that makes sense, okay? And there's a difference here between day one DLC, in my opinion, and DLC that comes out later on. So, for example,
and
these
characters take a long time to make as well. So they take like months to make.
Yeah, like even there's been some Tekken games that had DLC later on down the line. Like, hold on a second. Okay, I do not mind DLC at all. In fact, for games that I play a lot, I love it because that gives me more stuff to do in the game. I don't have a problem with DLC. I have a problem with day one DLC or them locking stuff behind a paywall that's already like on this DLC. I mean, those are huge things that were issues. Like, for example, yeah, let's say we got Dragon Ball Super, and let's say, after the Tournament of Power arc, they introduced, like, some other arc, and there's, like, 10 new awesome characters. And what's the name of the game you're playing again?
Dragon Ball FighterZ beta right now.
Dragon Ball FighterZ beta. And let's say, the new arc starts, and they come out with, like, I don't know, 15 different new Frieza, like a Frieza family or something, and they want to add those characters in. Okay, that's fine. That's stuff that they develop later on down the line. They want to add it into the game. Of course, it needs a cost. That makes sense. But imagine if instead of that, the game you're playing now, it comes out, and half the characters are locked, and you got to pay $5 each for them.
Yeah. The problem I have, or I would have, if like there's day one DLC, is if there's a Dragon Ball Z character in it. Like if there's a Dragon Ball Z characters, except for the movies are fine. Like they're not going to be in the base like game because you want all your Dragon Ball Z characters first, and then you want to get other characters.
Now, the problem I just have is if you've got a complete game and you just arbitrarily lock parts of it behind additional paywalls, then all you do, and this comes down to really a moral issue. I mean, it's like buying a car and then finding out later on you got to pay an additional, $10,000 for tires or something stupid. Like, you pay $20,000 for a brand new car, and then they don't give you the tires, the AC, or the radiator. You got to pay like an additional $10,000 for them. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, the car was complete. Why am I having to pay additional money for what should already be in the car? It's already there, so why am I not getting it?
Unless a new car part comes out, and then you want that.
Yeah,
it's DLC.
Exactly, it'd be DLC. Aftermarket Parts, DLC for a video game. That makes sense. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's not really comparative. Video games are art. You can't really. Video games are, able to do whatever they want to. There are business practices if they want to, and we're just as free to vocalize our displeasure at them and our desire to not buy them if we don't want to.
Because we play these games and we want to have fun. We don't want our games to get fucked up by microtransactions.
Exactly. I wanted to keep pushing money out. If I wanted to just keep paying money to play a video game, I would go to an arcade. I bought this to play at home and pay one time for, maybe pay some money for DLC later on, and not have to keep shelling out money just to keep unlocking stuff that's really already in the base game.
We're not like complaining to make games worse. We're complaining to make them better.
Well, and here's the problem too. A lot of what's going on in the gaming industry right now, I mean, I can't think of too many positive things going on, and that's what's really making me sad. I mean, between demonetization on YouTube, I mean, gamers there was actually a really good video by the Game Theorist, where he goes through and he shows that, gamers actually help make YouTube what it is today. I mean, that used to be like the top trending videos on YouTube were all gaming videos, and they essentially nerfed gaming videos down to hell because they didn't want new people to the site, thinking that the site was nothing but, video game videos. But, gamers help make YouTube what it is. I mean, it wouldn't be nearly as big if it wasn't for that. I mean, now you can see they're trying to get into Twitch sphere. Since Twitch is all video games, they still want the traffic and the money brought in by gamers, but they're screwing over their gamers in the process. Between stuff
Nintendo.
like that going on, between other companies like Nintendo screwing over creators, essentially just because they're greedy. I mean, the whole Nintendo share program, whatever the hell it's called, is so fucking retarded and stupid, it makes me sick. And don't get me wrong, technically speaking, they are still kind of free to do what they want as far as streaming games and making videos about their games. Although I'd say, depending on the type of video, the DMCA claims they make against them are kind of bullshit. It's one thing to stream a game from start to finish. It's another one to just make videos about a game, especially using videos that are already kind of already been released. There's such a thing as fair use.
And I feel
for a
like
reason.
this is more so with when someone reviews a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you talk about their game.
Yeah, so reviews definitely shouldn't be touched or be able to be DMCA'd in any capacity unless they've done something just like crazy, like freaking. I mean, if they've slandered somebody, like actual legal slander, that's one thing, and there's laws against that as it is. But we already take enough shit from companies like Nintendo, Capcom. We have to deal with crap like YouTube's freaking rules that are pretty much just arbitrary and seem to change from day to day. We got to deal with freaking the adpocalypse and every subsequent adpocalypse since then because YouTube's never recovered as far as its YouTube game creators. Every single story about games that's come out lately, I can't think of a positive one in any capacity, whether it be a company, whether it be something on YouTube, whether it be games coming out. I mean, nothing seems to be positive, and that honestly scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge gamer. I've been playing games as long as I can remember. And then I'll be playing games freaking far into the future when I can just plug a cord in the back of my head and go into virtual reality. I'll be playing then, too. I can't wait. But right now, gaming is not in a good area. And again, I'm sure there's good stuff coming out. I know I've seen good stuff every day. But unfortunately, just the way humans are, I mean, all I can think of is just the shit that's bad going on right now. And it's compounded by the fact that everything that comes out is bad. And I mean, I got a
it's
pretty...
normal we complain if it's bad.
Yeah, and even with like a really good game, there's always going to be someone that complains about something. But the stuff that's coming out here lately, everyone's complaining about, and it's usually having to do with money somehow. I mean, developers have gotten, can't even say it's developers. I mean, some developers, some publishers, the industry's gotten greedy. Like insanely greedy. They see that freaking, I mean, we already know video games make more than Hollywood does every year. Now they want more and more money. I mean, it shouldn't take more and more money to enjoy the hobby I like playing.
Exactly.
And it's getting pretty sad. I mean, there used to be games coming out every other month. Every other day that I saw, I'm like, dude, I want to... Oh, cool, Southern gotta be. There used to be just, like, tons of games. I'm like, I want to play this. I want to get this. I gotta, you know, stretch out my paychecks or save up to get this game. Or I need to make sure I make time to play this game. There's only maybe a couple of games that I'm looking forward to coming out. And half of them are just maps for other games. And the other half are really just games that we can't confirm exist yet. I mean, always looking forward to whatever Bethesda puts out as far as RPGs. So, always looking forward to the next Elder Scrolls or Fallout or, you know, any of those types of games. Other than that, the only other game I can think of I'm really looking forward to is Monster Hunter. And potentially the next map for Ark, but even Ark, which I'm playing in the background right now, actually ended up pissing me off really bad today. Matter of fact, you were there when it happened to me. Remember what happened to my Giga I had raised on Ark?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm playing on Aberration
I took
right now.
screenshots.
Yep, and so we're going to go ahead and switch gears here, and we're going to talk about Ark a little bit, because I've had a lot to say about it lately. So I've been playing on the Aberration map a lot here. You know, it's an underground map. It's actually part of the main storyline. It's actually got some pretty interesting backstory to it. But, yeah, so one of the big glitches that's happened with Ark, and has been a glitch for a long time, has yet to be fixed, is that dinos have a real bad habit of getting stuck underground. Now, this wouldn't be too terrible of an idea if we can get them out. I mean, single player, we can go into admin mode and get them unstuck. But if you're playing on the official servers, there's a little bit of a problem. You see, dinosaurs get stuck really often underground, and oftentimes when they do, they fall all the way through and die instantly, or they're just stuck there and you can't ride them or get them out. Now, in any other game, if there is some kind of issue with your character, or your character gets stuck, or it gets deleted somehow, what do most other games do? What do most other admins or, you know, help desk do? They try to help you with the problem and fix it to the best of their ability, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens in Ark? And Dash, I know you know exactly what happens. What happens on official servers when we have a problem with dinos? Dinos, I might add, and characters, I might add, that it's not just something we can get in a day. A lot of the stuff that we're raising and we're capturing takes literal weeks to complete and earn.
Well, I experimented with the Giga that was stuck underground, and over time it would slowly go down, and eventually when I got back, it was all the way down. But if I whistled it, it would come all the way back up.
Yep.
But we wouldn't be able to ride it.
And when I put in my ticket to the admins, what happened?
I don't think they remember.
Yeah, they didn't do a damn thing. So, here I am playing on the Aberration map today. And I finally get all the obsidian I need to make my grinder. We've been trying to make a grinder for a couple weeks, or for about a week. We've been getting sidetracked, and our base is kind of far away from everything. And obsidian is in very specific areas that are kind of a pain to run around in. So I finally get it, and I'm running a creature called a basilisk. Basilisk is essentially a flightless poison wyvern. You know, it's awesome. It can dig underground. The one I had was weak, but it still had like 3,000 carry weight. It's a pretty awesome creature. Got a pretty good attack, pretty good defenses, a lot of hit points. As you can imagine, not easy to tame. In fact, the only way to tame it is to feed it passively rock drake eggs. And as you probably know, rock drakes are essentially the wyverns of this map. You know, they're the main mount to get around, they're quick, that kind of thing. Well, here I am going back to base today, and one of the bugs on this map is that if wild spinos walk on top of you or get too close to you, guess what they do to you?
What do they do?
They push you through the ground. And I'm not talking just stuck in the ground. I'm talking it pushed me all the way through the ground. I streamed it earlier when it was happening. I was falling the entire way down. And of course, the second you get off...
emptiness?
Yeah, it was just stars. It was just stars. And I streamed it earlier, so everyone can see exactly what I'm talking about. It was just stars. And I put in a ticket. This isn't the first time this happened, by the way. We had this happen with another Basilisk before. So we've lost 2 Basilisks because a wild Spino walked up to us. That was it.
Oh my god.
It literally just walked up to us. So not only did we have to try to fight the freaking game's environment, we got to grind our ass off to get stuff. We got to put in literal hours and oftentimes stay up all night to raise stuff. We got to risk all of our hard-on work just to go down to nests to get to rock drakes, which, by the way, rock drakes, their nests are 10 times glitchier than wyvern nests were. Because rock drake eggs, guess what? They have an issue with collision, and they will oftentimes fall under the nest and even down into the rocks to where you can't get them. And if you can't get them, that means that the nest stays there until they freaking rot away days later. Even, I think, like a week later is how long it takes for the stuff to go away. I mean, there's nests down there now that have been stuck with eggs through the ground, which we can see in orbital cam, that we can't get to. So the nests are just broken until they finally do something about it. So not only do we have to finally grind up enough eggs to get the Basilisk, but it's all gone in a matter of seconds because a wild dinosaur walks up to me. Doesn't kill me. I don't lose by attacking it or getting killed or doing something stupid. I lost all that work because a creature just walked up to me.
I mean, Spinos are dangerous, man. You gotta be careful.
So, and it's not just that. It seems like the strongest creatures, like the Reaper Queens, apparently have the same problem. If one walks a Spino, and it seems to be the Spino that does it. No, Spino and Reaper Queens. If a Reaper Queen or a Spino walks up to you, they'll push you through the ground. And as of right now, I put this ticket in hours ago, and I put in a forum post. I've yet to hear anything back. And the problem is, whenever you hear about someone losing stuff on Ark, especially the official servers, I think I've only seen someone say they've gotten help one time where they replaced what they lost. Every other person has always said they came back and told them they don't replace wild or they don't replace dinos. So the work we put in, hours, days, weeks in some cases, gone in seconds, and they don't replace our shit.
Like the Giga.
Yeah, like the Giga. Oh, that was even worse because not only would they not replace it as was apparently policy, they stopped, doing anything at all with the legacy servers. So those of us that were supporting them from the get-go, essentially we got a big screw you.
Yeah, I think it was like before launch, right?
Yeah, right before launch. They was like, yeah, once the new servers come out, we're not supporting the old ones anymore. So that was a big F you to everybody.
Wow.
So that happened today, so that was fun.
Pretty fun.
Yep. And then apparently they quietly boosted. There's a creature on this map called a Carkinos or a Carcanos. It's essentially a giant crab that, it's kind of like the new quest of this map. Since you can't fly, this thing has got high carry weight, high hit points, high melee if you build it right. And it can actually pick up 2 creatures at once with its claws. Well, before, it could very rarely pick you up off your mount. It didn't happen often, but it would very rarely pick you off of. But it happened like maybe once out of every 50 fights you had. Well, apparently they increased how often that happens, and now every other time you fight one, it picks you up off of the damn mount, and half the time you're underwater, so you just drown and can't fucking hit the damn thing.
Oh my Jesus, this is bad.
Yeah, no patch notes about it or anything. It was just one day, suddenly, everybody's getting picked up off their mounts.
So there's essentially a bunch of problems that aren't being fixed.
Yeah, pretty much like has always been with Ark. And the reason I'm so ticked about, and I'm sure you know, is I love Ark. I play single player. If issues keep happening and they don't replace this Basilisk, I'm probably going to go back to single player because at least there I could fix the issues. But, I mean,
that's the game I've seen you play the longest.
Yeah, this is an awesome game. It's got thousands of hours of stuff to do in it. It really does. It's got a lot of maps, all varied, tons of dinos. There's a lot to do in the game. But I hate playing games where I'm fighting the bugs and glitches more than I am the environment. And it gets so angry about it because I like the game. This game could be very awesome. But besides fighting the lag on the official servers, besides fighting all the bugs and glitches, I've actually got to try and actually play the game. This is not a good look. And it's not like these are new glitches. This is all stuff that's been around since before launch.
And they haven't been fixed in so long.
Yep, same stuff. And every new map that comes out, like this map here, we don't have a working kibble tree right now. Half the dinos in here, we can't get tamed correctly because we can't make the kibble form. For example, there's no Dilophosaurus on the map. Which means if you want to tame a level 150 Anki, or I mean, even tame a low-level Anki or Doedicurus, you know, some of the main creatures you need to build, takes hours to do.
I mean, a lot of things take hours to do in this game.
Yeah, at least with kibble, I mean, yeah, granted, they give you higher levels when doing it. It also speeds up the time to tame stuff. I had to sit there for 4 hours watching an Anki the other day. 4 hours for one dino. And it was only level 95.
Oh, jeez. You expect that to be like in the hundreds at least.
Yeah, you would think, I mean, I don't think a Giga even takes that long. That's insane. But, yep, a lot of fun stuff with Ark. But that was just my little tirade today. I had to stream that when the glitch happened to me earlier. I feel a little bit better now, but it's still pissing me off. What else do we get? I think that's pretty much it as far as the gaming news goes. I mean, I'm really trying to find more stuff to talk about besides just all the bullshit that's going on in gaming right now. Because, I mean, there is a lot of bullshit going on. And it's usually under the part of... I mean, there's some good things, but you rarely hear about them. I mean, besides the Monster Hunter coming out, which I just have to be excited for. I mean, name something good going on in the gaming industry right now.
The game I'm playing? That's really good, actually.
Well, yeah, but that's like a game being released. I mean, that's par for the course. I mean, what good is actually going on in the industry? I mean, yeah, there's one game coming out, but besides that, I mean, can you think of any other games you're really excited to play that are coming up? I mean, I can't. I mean, besides Monster Hunter World, and everyone knows how much I like it.
It depends. It depends if they're releasing it 2018.
What is it?
For a reason. Like The Last of Us, God of War, that stuff. Like, if that's released 2018, then yeah, I probably look forward to that.
Okay, I can see that. I don't know. There's not a lot that I'm looking forward to coming out, and it's really honestly kind of depressing. But I mean, I'll stick to it. I mean, I'm still going to keep playing games. I'm not going to stop anytime soon. But I mean, I would like to be able to turn on YouTube and see some games coming out I'm excited to pluck and play. You know, some stuff I'm excited to get my hands on.
Yeah, there's some games that you probably are going to play for a long time, so you don't have to worry about it.
Like what?
Maybe some games that come out in the future, you know? Like some games that you might want to play for like a really long time.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be something that comes out. I just, again, besides Monster Hunter World, I can't think of anything else, and that's pretty sad. I mean, I've been playing Ark right now, but that's just because, I mean, it's here.
It's
an
old game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game I can reliably come back to and play. I know how to do it, so, I mean, the problem is, I mean, I even had a glitch in single player where I went to go transfer between my single player worlds. And apparently there was a glitch that destroyed my character, all the items I was trying to transfer, and all my dinos. This is in single player.
Man, I feel like that game has too many problems.
I mean, it's got a lot. I mean, I'm really starting to question some stuff with it, but what if? Still playing it, and still enjoying it. I mean, I just got a new Basilisk. I mean, right before I started this stream. It's actually why we started the stream late, but I was taming up a new Basilisk. We need something to carry weight, but you know, right now I'm going to try to make next week's podcast all positive stuff coming out. I mean, I do a quick update on anything crazy going on, but I'm going to try to make it nothing but positive stuff going on and coming up in the industry. Because the last few have been nothing but depressing crap going on, and that's really what you see everywhere. But I'm going to try and make next week's a little bit more interesting. But that's pretty much all I've got for this week. Again, Dash, thanks for coming by. I know it was kind of last minute I saw you on there, and I was like, I need to get Dash back in here. But it's also been a couple of weeks since I've really, I think last week was the first one since my vacation. Then I got sick that was really a full episode. But, yeah, I'd like to get everyone to start getting them back in here again.
I also have some thoughts, like last thoughts.
Go ahead, man. Yeah, that's what that's sports for.
Well, this is actually a good thing. So this will be going on for next podcast you do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good thing happening with the communities of the FGC and then the Dragon Ball community. They're kind of blending together with the game that I'm playing right now, and they're actually like both FGC and of course the Dragon Ball game community love this game. Like, I feel like that no matter what, they're gonna like this game. And it's made for like a lot of people. Like, they're made for new players. It's made for the course the game is made for, and then the FGC as well.
Okay.
Those some last thoughts.
Yep. I used to play a lot of Dragon Ball Z games. It was my buddy Burton used to essentially get all the games from Japan, and on his PlayStation he had the I guess the Japanese, or he had the converter to let you play the Japanese games on the American PlayStation. So we used to play like a lot of the old school Dragon Ball games. But
like arcade ones?
No, I gotta look up what they are. I might end up making that a subject too, but I'm talking like we're talking like early, not even 2000s, like late 1990s types games.
Jesus.
Yeah, like we're talking old school Dragon Ball games. But I used to get those all the time. I used to play them a lot. It's just been a long time since I really got into a Dragon Ball game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm already loving the beta so far.
Nope, good stuff. I mean, I'm glad you got at least something to look forward to. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the one. Hopefully, hopefully it doesn't do me wrong. But yeah. Any other final thoughts? I mean, next week I'm going to try and do an all positive podcast, but.
No, not anymore. I'm out.
All right, man. Thank you guys for coming by. This was, again, Venom and Dash D with We Have Landed Entertainment. The game in the background is Ark Survival Evolved on the Aberration map on the official servers, which is why it's laggy. And thank you guys for coming by, and we'll see you later.